Tammy Kolda, an applied mathematician, and this is Unlocking LaTeX Graphics. On this channel, I present tutorials on using TikZ and PGF plots. The videos on this channel are based on my book, Unlocking LaTeX Graphics, as well as some bonus materials. Today, I'm going to give an overview of styles in TikZ. I use them all the time in my videos, but I haven't really explained them in detail. That's what this video is all about. A style is a set of attributes like color or line thickness or font size and so on that can be applied to TikZ elements like nodes, paths, and edges. You can define your own styles to make your code cleaner and easier to modify. There are also a bunch of predefined styles in TikZ, some of which are actually intended to be modified by the user. These are things like every node and every path. In this video, I'll explain the different basic attributes in TikZ that you might use to make up styles, how to create your own custom styles, and how to modify the predefined every styles. If you make it to this video, I think you'll find that your TikZ pictures are easier to create and update. Let me know in the comments if you find this helpful or if there's still questions about styles that you have. It's definitely a complex topic. Let's see if this video can make it any clearer. Before we get started, let's set up our document. I'm using the geometry package to adjust the size of the document to something convenient for our presentation. I'm using the package parskip to avoid paragraph indentation and hyperref to link the author name back to the channel as you see here. The main package you will need to recreate these examples is of course TikZ. I'm also loading the positioning and arrows meta libraries which we'll need for some of the examples. Now we're ready to tackle styles in TikZ. TikZ has a lot of built-in attributes, and we demonstrate several of these in this example TikZ picture. Before we talk about the attributes, let's go through this huge section of code and see what's going on here. The first command is drawing a grid of help lines with coordinates 0, 0 at the bottom left and 12, 4 at the top right. The next three lines draw three semi-transparent yellow circles at different locations. The next three lines create these lines around the circle or in the circle for the radius, diameter, and circumference, along with labels for each of those measures. Finally, the last three commands create title nodes above each circle. If any of these commands are new to you, such as arc, I've linked several explanatory episodes in the show notes. So what attributes are being used here? If we look at this picture, there are a lot of attributes here, including the color, the fill opacity, the positioning of the node, the fill color, the font, and so on. In general, you can think of these attributes as building blocks that you can combine to create styles. Now that we've seen some of the basic attributes in TikZ, let's see how we can combine them to create a custom style. I'm going to redo the entire picture here. I've just replaced the previous picture with what I have here. I recompiled it already and nothing has changed. But let me explain to you how the code has changed. I'm creating three custom styles in the options for my TikZ picture. That means between the square brackets. I've created a style for the circles, a style for the labels, and a style for the title nodes. Half the battle in creating custom styles is choosing a name that is not already a keyword in TikZ. Putting my in front of the name usually works well. The way to define a style is to give it a name followed by a /dot and then the word style. Then you follow this by an equal sign and your desired attributes inside of curly braces. Observe that spaces are okay in style name, so I have here my space circle, that's completely fine. The my circle style combines the color yellow and a fill opacity of 0.5. I also specify the radius of 1.5, and then I don't have to specify it each time I draw the circle. I can use it here down below, and now these lines are much shorter and hopefully a little bit easier to read. The MyLabel style combines the attributes midway, above, and sloped, and I use that for the nodes on these lines. And then the MyTitle style combines the white fill color and the sans serif large font for these title nodes up top. Using these styles makes the code much cleaner and easier to read. It's much more likely to fit on one line in my large font that I'm using here. Plus, I can easily modify the styles later if I want to change something. So for example, if I decide to change my circles to be pink, it's very easy changing in one place. I don't have to copy it around. And if I change my mind, I can go back to yellow very easily as well. I define my custom styles inside the TikZ picture options, but you can also define them using a tikzset command. So let's get rid of the styles here inside the TikZ picture, and I'll go right above it and I'll paste tikzset, and I'm defining my 3 styles here. It doesn't make any difference except for now my styles are available for the remainder of the document and they can be reused in other TikZ pictures if desired. You have some choice about where to put this tikzset command. Wherever you put it, it impacts everything that comes afterwards in the current scope. If you put it in the preamble of your document, it impacts everything for the rest of the document. If you put it halfway through the document, it just impacts what follows. If you put it inside of a figure environment, it only lasts until the end of the figure environment. If we look here at my grid that I'm drawing, I'm using this help lines. That's actually a style that is predefined in TikZ. Here's the definition from the manual. It just sets the line width to 0.2 points, which is equivalent to very thin, and the color to gray. I think the gray color is too dark, but I can modify this style. I can just go inside my tikzset command and type help lines / pen style and change it to gray 25. So pending it makes a change where style would override it. So this will keep the existing line width specification, but override the color. So when we compile this, now I see that my gray lines have gotten a lot lighter. I'm going to paste another example here. This is a simple directed graph that I am creating using the TikZ positioning library. I'm doing this inside of a figure environment. I have a tikzset command here that is specifying the node distance. So this is the vertical and horizontal distance between nodes. This will only impact this figure because it's inside the figure environment. I create 5 nodes and then I create some edges between them. I'll link to my prior episode on drawing graphs using the positioning library in the show notes. This graph is pretty plain, so I want to spice it up. I could do this by defining custom styles like I did above, and then adding them to each node and each edge. But there's another way, perhaps easier, to do this using something called every styles in TikZ. Let me make all the nodes look fancier. I can do this by modifying the predefined every node style. The way that an every style works is that TikZ automatically applies the specified style to every element of that type. So if I modify the every node style, then every node in the picture will automatically get that style. I can specify this in the TikZ picture options or in a tikzset command. I'll do it in the tikzset command inside the figure environment so that it only impacts this figure. Here I'm setting every node to draw the outside, make a circle shape, set the font to be large and boldface, and the minimum size to be 1 centimeter, and filling it with cyan at 10% intensity. Now our nodes look much fancier. Next, let me modify the edges. These edges are meant to be directed, so I want to add an arrow to each one. I also make a few other adjustments, such as setting the arrowhead style to be straight barbed and shortening the ends a bit so that they don't touch the nodes. When I compile, let's see what's happened. What happened is that my edges disappeared. Something has gone wrong. Why did that happen? So the problem is I said every edge dot style instead of every edge dot append style. So I've completely overridden the existing edge style of draw. Most every styles are empty, but this one is not. So we have to use append style. And in general, using append style is better practice with these every styles. While modifying the every styles is a quick and easy way to change the appearance of multiple elements at once, it does have some downsides. Let's suppose I want to add another node to my existing graph, which I'll do down here. I just want to indicate the start node, so I'm going to put a little label to the left. When I compile that, this new node inherits all this other stuff that I actually don't want. Now I can fix that by making a custom style and applying it to all those nodes and not this new node. But there's a couple of other ways to fix this. One way to fix this is to change the options for just that node. So I'll change from circle to rectangle. I'll get rid of the drawing and the filling, and I'll change the font back to normal size. So now I have my start node to the right. This is a weird way to do it, but it works as a one-off solution. A better way to fix this is to use a scope environment to limit the impact of the every node and every edge styles. What I'm going to do is wrap the existing nodes and edges in a scope environment and then move the every styles to the options for that scope. And let me go ahead and do that here. Now, what I've changed here is that the every styles are no longer inside of tikzset command. Instead, I have this new scope environment that surrounds the entire graph, but not that extra node. And now the every node and every edge are just defined inside the scope. This way, I don't have to apply custom styles for each node and edge, but I can still have regular nodes and edges outside of the scope. When I compile that, nothing changes. But now I no longer have to do a bunch of extra stuff down here. Using a scope is often how I would use every styles in practice. It's a quick way to modify a bunch of TikZ objects at once without impacting the entire figure or having to apply custom styles. As I look at these two pictures, I realize that the lines are really thin. I can change the style of every single path in the entire document by changing the every path style at the beginning. This is more in the spirit of how every options are meant to be used. So I'll go back to the top to that first tikzset. I'll go ahead and add here every path being ultra thick. Note that I appended the style rather than overwriting it. When I compile this, every path in these pictures is now ultra thick. That includes the outlines of nodes and edges. The only lines that didn't change were the grid of help lines. This is because the help lines explicitly specify the line width. That overrides the every path style because that comes before. If, for example, I were to add dashed here, then all the lines would become dashed, including, which you might not be able to see until I zoom in, the help lines here. So now you know how to create your own styles and use these every styles, such as every path and every node and every edge. This hopefully has filled in any gaps you may have had in your understanding of styles. I didn't have time today to cover TikZ styles with arguments, but I already have another video on that topic and I'll link it in the show notes. As always, I'll include a link to the overleaf document I created today also in the show notes, and if you found this helpful or interesting, please click like or subscribe. If you have TikZ or PGF plots questions, please post them in the comments. If you want to learn more, please check out the other videos. I also have a book, Unlocking LaTeX Graphics, available for purchase at major book retailers. Thanks for watching.